Welcome to this tutorial on how to create a pie chart from any list on your SharePoint. I was asked to create a pie chart for a project from a SharePoint list, but the options were thin on the ground and I had some drawbacks with each of them. SharePoint quick charts couldn't create a pie chart without having a text and number column and couldn't aggregate the data. Using Excel meant it couldn't auto-update. PowerBi couldn't create a pie chart, so I was stuck until I put them all together. This method can be done in 30 minutes and will produce an auto-updating pie chart, and it can be used on any list to create a pie chart. Here we go. Firstly, let's look at my list. I have an application status list here, but it could be any list. It's a very simple list, but it's the same as I say for any list. We have a status column that I want to display in a pie chart showing the percentage of online and offline applications. The status column is a choice field and the application field is a text field. The first thing we need to do is create another list that will be used to store the data for the pie chart. I've called this list pie chart status. This list has two fields, the status field, which is the renamed title field, and the percentage field, which is a number field formatted to percentage. The second step is to create a flow in PowerAutomate. Here I have a scheduled flow called pie chart status, which runs every hour. The next step is to get all the items from the pie chart status list. So I'm going to get all of those items from the pie chart status list. This is our created list, and I'm going to delete them so that's empty. So I'll delete all the items. Next is to get all the items in the application status list. So I have a total count of all of the applications, all of the items in that list. I'm going to initialize and set a count all variable. That's going to be a float variable, and it's going to use that length. Expression to count all of the items in that list. The next one is to get the online items. So count all of the items in the application status list that are equal to online. So the status equals online. I'm going to put this count into a floating variable called online count, again using length to count them, the number of items in that. I'm going to get the offline items, again the exact same way. Get the offline items where the status equals offline. I'm going to initialize and set the offline count variable as a float again. So I'm going to add the number from here and this, the number returned, into this variable, float variable. And then I'm going to initialize and set an online percent variable. So I'm going to create my percentages of each. So I have my online percent, which is a floating type, and it divides the online count by the count of all. So now I have my percentage of items that are online. I'm going to do the exact same for the offline percent, using the div function expression on the variables to divide the offline count by the count all. And then I'm going to use a condition to check if online equals 0, do nothing, otherwise create the item. So I don't want anything that's 0 in my pie chart. I don't want to display them because it'll just make it look untidy and there's no need for it. So if it's equal to 0, then do nothing, otherwise it's going to create the online item in the pie chart status. And then I'm going to do the same for the next offline item. If it's equal to 0, do nothing, and if it is not 0, then it will create the offline item. So now, when I run this, goes through, counts everything, does the calculations, and creates my two items in here. I have an online item, an offline item, and I can then use these to create my chart, this list to create my chart. So on home, I've already created that chart. Here it is, offline and online. Let's have a look at it. So if I go to the edit web part, you can see that it is a pie chart. Get the data from a list, which is the pie chart status. Use the percent to display the data, and the title for the horizontal axis. And that is how to create a pie chart from any SharePoint list using Power Automate and the inbuilt quick charts web part in SharePoint.